keep is beautiful. Like a gilded cage.
I feel crazy saying this, but Kostya was right. We should have let Solace Keep fall.
Crazy is one word for it. You really think you can just burn down someone's ancestral home?
Dearie, the keep isn't a home. It's a prison. And now the Bargrunen will never escape.
Solace is my home. I still don't get why any of you feel like you have a say in this.
But you left.
Because I chose to. Kostya doesn't get to make that decision for everybody.
If Kostya doesn't, Mihala will.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Stopping Kostya's plan was no less of a decision.
Choosing to do nothing is still a choice. One that dooms everyone to living in a stone prison.
Amalia and her people took up arms and turned to banditry, and they still weren't allowed to leave. If anything, I imagine Mihala and her traditionalists will only make it harder to leave now. You know your own mind. There's something to be said for that.
True. And you've a date with the gods soon. We can only hope that you'll make better decisions.
Enough talking in circles. Let's save our strength for the garden. I, for one, could use a long rest. And I'm betting the envoy could, too.
Right. Looking forward to it.
I must admit, I had my doubts about Solace. It was like a dungeon, except the wardens were the prisoners. You could have helped Kostya destroy the keep, but you left it standing. Why? I agree. A decision like this belongs to the community, not the ambitions of one man. Even if Solace isn't going anywhere, I think your arrival was a sign of changes to come. Wherever you go, you break people out of their habits. You banish the old ways. Fate doesn't ask us what we want. Wherever that power comes from, whether it's your heritage or political status, it's a terrible burden. I don't envy you, but at least you keep things interesting. If I must. Let me get this straight. You spoke to the spirit of Nandru, a godlike, same as you. What did he say? Any advice? Any words of encouragement? Not the inspirational speech we were hoping for then. I should have seen this coming. Never listen to the dead. They're cynical, full of regret, and determined to make us all miserable. Thankfully, you're still alive. Fate is in your hands. What happened to Nandru was ages ago. Plenty of time to reconsider one's choices. No one is closer to Sapodal than you are. Nandru lost that privilege when he died, which means you alone can judge the god of the living lands. Your opinion is the one that counts. A caged animal lashes out at friend and foe alike. For what it's worth, I think you're going to be fine. No matter what you do about Sapodal, it can't get any worse. I wish I could say the same for the living lands. You too. Solace has a few old-fashioned ideas about animancy, to put it lightly. Thank you for letting Petru go free. Animancy is not a crime, but many feel entitled to treat it as one. As do I. Whether or not Petru is successful as an animancer, he has a right to learn the art. And it's good to know someone out there is defending his rights. Not before I've done some reading.
I'm starting to suspect that every single leader in the living lands is incompetent. Truly, is there no vetting process? Hopefully those in Solace Keep will choose their leaders with more care in the future. But we should check on Marius. I'll make him some soothing perfume, but I think a few words from you would help too. Well, of course, I'm not suggesting it's always a fix for issues. But those poor Pargrunen are clearly prisoners of their traditions. I think getting rid of the keep could have helped more than they realized. I do not envy the Pargrunen in any case. Meeting that council gave me a new appreciation for Vidaru. There's always a way for things to get worse, dearie. I wouldn't be surprised. We're losing focus on the important things. Things like the garden. Oh, come on, Envoy, let's get going. How can I help, darling? I'm starting to suspect that every single leader in the living lands is incompetent. Truly, is there no vetting process? Hopefully those in Solace Keep will choose their leaders, but we should check... Ugh, I know. I felt gross about it too. Well, of course, I'm not suggesting it's always a fix for issues. But those poor Pargrunen are I think getting rid of the keep could have helped more than... I do not end meeting that council. Well, Fjord has already been burned to the ground, so that's half the work. Barrett's balls. What a... We're losing focus on the important... Oh, come on, How can I... Don't mind if I do. What do you...
Envoy? You're probably here to see how I'm doing, yeah? Well, I'm doing great. I always knew my home would destroy itself from within. I just never thought I'd get a chance to stop it. Ha! A statue of me next to Nandru, rolling my eyes and drunk on Wodak. But enough of that. You have a lot to do. Right, changing the... Pleasant dreams. Envoy blacked out at that Audra and the lava tubes beneath Solace. But it seemed different somehow. Oh, so the one time I am, you make fun of it. Sure, let's make sure I never ask again. Giada says it was Nandru, like... founder of Solace Nandru. Actual, dead and stuck in Audra Nandru. Somehow that doesn't surprise me. People in Solace always claim they're speaking the word of Nandru. And here you are, actually hearing from the man. Doesn't even really matter what he said if you ask me. There are hundreds of Pargrunen who'd give anything to hear Nandru's voice. Blessed day impressive is what that is. Envoy, what do you need? If I must.
Have you ever been to the Valian Republics?
A couple of times. Plenty of mercenary contracts out there. What about you? That's where your people came from before they founded Fjord.
I've never even...
lack of ingredients again.
Fuitu.
I still can't believe that Saka Sab Jitulia.
What happened, Adirin? Is everyone all right? Thank you. I cannot explain how afraid I was for my people and our home. Perhaps so. Either way, I understand now the nature of my errors. It will not happen again. Here. I once was this artifact's custodian, but I failed in protecting the keep. This belongs to one who has proven capable of guarding my people. I wish so much that things had gone differently. Marius, could I speak to you?
Right, did she just ask that? Or am I having another nightmare? Knew you were gonna say that. Okay, let's hear it.
I'm so glad you're safe and that you're surrounded by good people.
All right, waiting for the but.
There's no but waiting. That's all I wanted to say. Truly. I am genuinely happy you found friendship, Marius. You always deserved more than the world gave you. That's all I wanted to say.
No, you've always given me more than I deserved.
I am in agreement with that.
closer. We have waited so long.
Well, this is it, I guess. Feels very different from the last time I left Galawain's tusks. I will say, it's nice to look out and see Solace still standing. Thanks for that. Right. It's better that an Adiran envoy do it.
Solace is still standing. And so are you. We're in this together.
Just so you know, Kai, it's starting to sound like you like me.
If you happen to need a reminder, do let us know. Brooding in silence can be quite the mood killer.
Not to spoil the moment with good news, but I doubt the rest of the island has been quiet while we've been looking for the garden. Things have only gotten more tense since Fjord, and the Steel Garrote probably hasn't been doing us any favors on that front.
Especially when they're led by a woman who doesn't seem interested in staying dead. Not to mention, after we take care of the Envoy's little god problem, we'll still have an empire bearing down on us. We should be so lucky.
Can't say I'm too excited about just walking into the garden. I grew up learning I needed to protect that place, but it never felt like more than a children's tale to me.
I hear you. This island is weird enough when all we have to worry about are vengeful plans and soul-altering corruption.
Am I the only one who's looking forward to the garden? We're pioneers, stepping into the great unknown, a land of mystery.
We have to remember to love them in spite of their lack of proper enthusiasm, dearie.
Can you imagine? An untouched spiritual wilderness just waiting for us. I have a theory about the garden, or a warning, depending on how you want to look at it. Sapadal has been imprisoned a long time. The garden will be a reflection of their dreams, their nightmares, their madness.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw visions or hallucinations, and not even the fun kind.
About that, before we go any further, I have to ask you something. You told the Inquisitor that you intend to free Sapadal, set them loose upon the world. Is that still the plan? Everyone deserves freedom.
I could make an exception for a god with the power to destroy us all in a tantrum.
Sapadal is responsible for the spiritual health of the living lands, and the island has suffered for it. No matter what the Inquisitor said, I don't believe there's a right or wrong choice to make here. Just the one you believe in. Good. Who said it has to be? Remember, we're stepping into a realm that is both physical and spiritual in nature. If you can call it nature. There's no telling how long we'll be gone. For all we know, time could run backwards in the garden.
Not a chance. We're a crew now, so you're stuck with me until the end. Marius?
I told you I'd be with you till the end. I don't go back on my promises. What about you, Giada?
You're not going into the garden without me. I have to see this with my own eyes. Yatsli, if you feel like running back to Quilici, now would be the time. No one would think less of you.
And tell Quilici that I missed out on the most exciting part.
And you don't have to. We pull together, and that's plenty.
I plan on wandering the garden whether I'm traveling with you or not. I have to find out what the big deal is.
Agreed. I'm not waiting in camp while the rest of you have all the fun. Hope to see you out there, Marius.
Well, let's go then. We can't keep your god waiting.
So, this is it. The spirit. For so long I have looked out on a horizon full of possibilities. Ugh, why am I so... I suppose you're right. I'm frightened. Do you remember when Manto Pastor sent you after the heart of an Adragan? That was nothing compared to this. We are standing in the beating heart of the living lands. Just imagine what we can do with it. I know. They didn't understand the forces at play. My parents were going to build a better world. You and I have come farther than they did. Anything. Of course you. I don't know what's going to happen, but you've had my back since the beginning. Well, that depends. I know a few spooky stories about the living lands. They may or may not have been.
Okay, but if something goes bump in the night, I'm waking you up.
Let me think of a good one. Which do you want to hear first? I know one about a ranger's dream, one about a haunted well, and one about a golden city. Many years ago, when Fior Messiverno was barely a dot on the map, an animancer got lost in the wilderness. He came upon a pair of ancient trees, their trunks and branches intertwined. A strange light shone in the space between the trees, and beyond that light, a city of gold. So the animancer returned with an axe to chop the trees apart and fit his body through the narrow gap. But with every blow of his axe, the towers of the golden city fell. The walls crumbled, the lights flickered out. By the time he made it through, there was nothing left. Only the bones of a once mighty civilization. As for the two trees, they were dead, hacked to splinters, leaving him no path back the way he came. Who said it was true? It's very strange. I can't remember who told me that story, and no one claims to have heard it before. Of course. Once upon a time, a young girl left town to fetch water from the local well. After pulling up the rope, she discovered the head of a Delimgan, one of the tree folk, staring at her from the bucket. "Return me to my grove," it said, "and I will grant you 3 wishes." So she carried the head into a peaceful clearing and sat it down on a tree stump. First, she wished for long life. The head granted her wish. Second, she wished to be impervious to a sword blade. Granted. And finally, she wished to know what happens after we die. No one ever saw her again. All they found was an Adra pillar in the middle of a clearing, next to an old stump. I heard it as a child. Took me years before I would fetch water again. Of course. One sunny day, a ranger took a nap in the woods of Emerald Stair. He awoke to a forest of dead trees, the night sky full of unfamiliar stars. After getting his bearings, he walked in the direction of Fior Messiverno, but the settlement was gone. In its place was the most beautiful garden, hills bursting with flowers, the grass as soft as Valian silk. Enchanted by this vision, he bent to pick a rose, but its thorn cut like a knife, severing 3 fingers. Then, a voice filled his head, shouting, "Go now, before the land takes you, body and soul." He awoke in his own bed, a wilted rose clutched in his 2-fingered hand. Very perceptive. What do you think it is? I have my own opinion, but I'm curious about yours. Good advice. Well, not for me, but good for others. These stories might not shine any light on the garden, but they could inform the way we think about it. First, the garden is beyond all mortal understanding. If you think you're safe here, you're not. And second, when you walk into the unknown, make sure to bring a friend. Life is full of such contradictions. I say it's better to acknowledge them rather than pretend they don't exist. Hey, you're a good listener. Not everyone has the patience to hold their questions to the end. Alas, that is all I can tell you about the garden. For now, at least. Who could rest at a time like this? Does anyone want to share a scary story?
No.
Gods no.
Why not? We've got everything we need. The crackling, do you feel that? Reminds me of a storm, gathering power on the horizon. Let me think. Why not? We've got everything we need. The crackling campfire, foreboding ambiance.
Looks like we'll have to find another way through. I think we've found Sapadal's home.
That's it. The heart of the garden. Zapadal's cage.
Here. Oh, we missed it.
That'll show him.
I think this is the only way down. After you.